The Yankees are 1 out away from another World Championship. Now Rivera is set. And the 0-1 swung on, hit in the air to deep center. Bernie back, away back. He's there. He makes the catch. Ball game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win. The New York Yankees have once again reached the summit of the sports world. They've won their 3rd straight championship, 4th in the last 5 years, and 26th all-time, the most successful team in the history of professional sports.
This is a Silk exclusive.
Now batting for the New York Yankees, the shortstop, number 2, Derek Jeter.
Welcome to another episode of Words, Music, Dance. I'm your host as always, Paulie the Bull, no relation to Gravano. You already know what we're doing. You already know what it is. Shout out to everybody listening. Shout out to everybody watching. You know, I appreciate you. And the conversation continues. We're still talking about the Derek Jeter documentary, ESPN Films, The Captain. You know what I'm saying? Love the background, Lou. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
We talk about The Captain. This week, last week, they just showed episodes 3 and 4. You can watch us talk about episodes 1 and 2. Go ahead and click that and watch that one first if you haven't. You know what I'm saying? But you're here now. We're talking about episodes 3 and 4. We can get right into it. Like I said, I appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate everybody watching. We back with Lewis and Pete. Welcome again, once again, guys. How you doing? How you feeling?
Good, Paulie.
Feeling good.
All right. So episode 3, we'll obviously go in order. Episode 3 started out with, the introduction of the Rocket, Roger Clemens. They showed the deal where we swapped out David Wells, brought in Roger Clemens, and they gave a little montage flashback of Clemens's, dirty work, so to speak, and how people hated him. But then, Jeter himself said, you know what, I hated him. But then when he became a teammate, it's like, hey, I love this guy now, because once you realize he's not trying to hurt anybody or, intentionally, it's his gamesmanship. He's trying to win. He's kind of, he has that, Dennis Rodman, Draymond kind of, pitching mindset. I'm a buzz you. I'm gonna make you stop crowding the plate. I'm intimidate. I'm gonna do what I can to get in your head. So then this next pitch can go right down the middle, and you don't know what to do. So Roger Clemens. Let's talk about him real quick. Lou, what's your thought on Roger Clemens? Him coming to the team and that segment right there of episode 3.
It brought back a lot of flashback of it. Roger Clemens in the tail end of his career is what people remember.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially our age.
Right.
We got to see him when he first came up, with the Blue Jays and everything like that. But it took me back, like, damn, he was dominant. But he wasn't dominant just pitching the ball. Like, he was intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the time, that's what the Yankees needed.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that enforcer, that person when he got on the mound, like, shit. This is the guy I have to face, every 6 days.
Right.
So I love early Rocket. It was something, it gave the Yankees an edge because Pettit wasn't that guy. David Cohn wasn't that guy. Even Mike Mussino wasn't that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've had a guy like that since. Now if I think of our pitching staff,
right,
through the later years, we haven't had a pitcher come in and just be straight dominant. Like, this is my plate. I'm gonna dominate it. You just have to deal with it for 6 to 9 innings.
Right.
So I love early on Rocket. I think he gave us an edge and a swagger that the Yankees needed at the time.
Right. Pete, what's your thoughts on the Rocket?
I always hated the guy. Simply because he was a Boston Red Sox.
All right. He did do that too.
But in all fairness, I
notice
know a
I
lot of
mentioned that
people
part.
said it's like Lou alluded to. He's he's a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
He's like borderline bully, like the other gentleman you just mentioned. But they want to win. They want to win, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him throwing at the Yankees back in the day, you know, to the point where Matt Noakes threw the ball back to him.
Right.
So you
Yes.
know, yeah, you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So when it's Yankee Red Sox lore, I don't have any love for any of them. But I agree that it was somebody that we needed. Um, and like you said, he's almost like an enforcer,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And he did pitch big games for us. He did.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, you mentioned the Yankees and the Red Sox. We're going to touch on that one later because that was kind of the focal point of episode 4. So we're definitely going to get back to that. But obviously, we know that that rivalry spans hundreds of years. But episode 4, that was more of an episode 4 topic. But when Roger Clemens came to the team, they like you guys said, needed a little toughness. Had to change up some things a little bit because they did previously win. But it was like, something was missing or something that's could be tweaked or worked on. So they brought him in. Then we got right to, the year 2000. Well, 99 first. We won then. And actually, I was my first year in college, 99. Well, I graduated high school, and that October was it started, school in the fall, and we actually cut some classes. Sorry, mama. We went down to to Brooklyn Bridge and tried to see what we could see. This was before they really started to do the whole barricading, and you got to be there like 5, 6 in the morning. So we got to see a little bit of it just by going down there, like maybe 9, 10 o'clock in the morning still, but really couldn't see much of it. So we did go down there. I'll never forget. I actually split my pants. I had some slacks on. So trying to go over a railing, I actually split my pants. But that's another story when we go into all that. But I remember '99. I remember going down there. Shout out to my boys Ben, my boys Vinny. We left school and we was like, let's go see what we can see. And we just went down there for not even an hour maybe, but like I said, we couldn't see much, but we was in the area. We heard some noise. We seen it was like just great to be there. Just great to be there. Then fast forward to 2000, we got the Subway World Series. Oh man. And this episode was perfect timing for this, for this week, because we just played these guys, and we lost to them guys. And I've been getting messages and seeing things online and tweets and it's out. But then it felt good to watch the Derek Jeter documentary, and they flashed us back, because that team doesn't like talking about the past for some reason when we bring it up. But hey, we talking about a documentary right now that showed it. The Subway World Series 2000. Fellas, Pete, talk to me. What was your thoughts on that Subway Series right there?
To just lead off by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Jeter is getting increasingly looser in each episode.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed it.
Yes.
And I know what I said about episode 1, but let me tell you, I love 3 and 4 because we have to go to the next episode about what happened in the street, which I was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just loose now. He's so much more fun.
Mm-hmm.
God. But he had the perfect title for this episode.
For us, there wasn't a hatred of the Mets. They were just, how we looked at it was just the Mets, right?
It was just the Mets.
It was just the Mets.
It was just the Mets. And I know that's pissing everybody off in blue and orange, but at the time, salute to number 2. He told you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the Mets, and it did bring back good time, and it was good for the Mets too, because they hadn't been there since they were there, then back in 05, and it's good to have the Red Sox and the Mets play, because without the rivalry, it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean a damn thing.
Right.
And it brought back, a few little things. Unfortunately, the Mets weren't as good as the Yankees were then. But then again, neither was anybody else in the league.
Right. Yeah. Lou, talk to me. 2000 Subway World Series.
It's the Mets. Like it was Mets. Like I look back at that series. Like that series was a gimme, right? That was sure they got one game, but I ask Met fans all the time, like, name your starting infield for that year. Go ahead, I'll wait, because they can't do it because none of the Mets fans supposedly say they can't do it. I think that series was cemented. Like this was Yankee Town. We all knew this was Yankees Town, but we literally went in there and it was just destruction of the Mets. I think we dominated that series from beginning to end. As I was watching the documentary, I think about when we beat Atlanta. I was like, damn, we dominated that series. I'm like, no, wait a minute. Now we show the Mets like, damn, no, we really dominated the Mets. I mean, the Mets didn't stand a chance. Then when they showed what is the name, the Agbayani. Agbayani's little quote that Mets was taking in 5. And because the Yankees went in there limping into that World Series, into that playoffs. And I think when Agbayani, lit the fire on the old men and said, "Oh, you're gonna beat us in 5." That's something you don't poke a bear, especially the bear that's been there before. So it humbled the Mets very, very quickly.
Yes.
Even though the Mets did go back a couple years later to the World Series. I loved it as a Yankee fan. Especially we grew up in that talking smack era to all our friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the time, it was 99, 2000. I was also in school, running my mouth, just running my mouth, because that season didn't start off the way it should have. We were slow developing after coming off that high of 98 when we just destroyed everyone in baseball, and we gallivanted through it. To struggle, the players showing their age, and the fact that we got to the playoffs. Barely, we lost the ball. It was to Baltimore at the end of that season. Limped into the playoffs, and then we almost lost. The A's were right at the A's were right there. The A's were that Moneyball team, up and coming. Analytics was becoming heavily used, and they were knocking on the door to beat them, and then to get to the World Series. Whew. That World Series is probably one of my favorites of all time.
And it was great.
I'm just gonna have this, and it's the Mets.
Yeah, and it was great for New York City, though. It's great. We live in a 2-team town, and just the fact that every game is here. We're going Bronx, Queens, but you know what I'm saying, like, and it was just great for the city. It was great to live here. It was great to be here, and we got to enjoy that sibling rivalry, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, all it did was remind everybody who's the big brother, who's the little brother, And hey, little brother's gonna, give a fight every now and then. Little brother gotta keep proving himself and say, hey, I'm not little no more. All right, little guy, show you, you gotta remind him every now and then. So yes, in recent years, little brother has got put on some muscle. But big brother still dominated when it mattered. So, and hopefully, this year, that's been the talk of the town. There's a possibility that we may be able to both get there again. What was it? May and June, both teams were number 1 in the leagues. The National League, American League, both teams were was number 1. So, that spark of possibility that we could get another Subway Series started to happen again. So it was like, hey, listen, that would be great. It'll be great again for the city. Like, and for us, it's like we don't even need to go to the stadiums. If we can go to the local bar, like just be outside in the city, you're gonna feel it. And everybody's gonna be rocking their gear and just talking. You're gonna be walking by somebody on the train, just it's one of the great things about being New Yorkers in New York, and when that happens, oh man, you see Knicks and Nets, they go through it, you know what I'm saying? But
I think it'd be a great ratings boost for Major League Baseball, because we won't have to worry about traveling to the West Coast, having a late game start. It'd be prime time on the East Coast, straight moneymaker for Major League Baseball. I would love to see it. It really depends on how we're coming into the final stretch of the trading deadline. So
And
We'll
just to
see.
let the Mets know, Scherzer pitched a great game. You know what I'm saying?
You
But
did.
we didn't send out our top guys. You know what I'm saying? We didn't send out Cole, Nestor. Like we didn't, so
Right. You missed it. You got. I mean, even though Montgomery and Talion are pitching phenomenal,
yeah.
I think Jameson Talion is having a bounce back year. I think he's like 10-2 right now.
Yeah.
Guys pitching phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I let the Mets have this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a
Listen,
weekend in July.
in the
Like
tops
we good.
in a 7-game series, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna put the rotation accordingly. These 2 games we didn't send, hey Cole, no, we didn't put the ace out there for this 2-game series. It's okay. It's okay. Let's not go crazy. You know what I'm saying? But moving on back to the documentary, you know what I'm saying? Then we kind of got the ARod comments. Well, first, before we even get to that, we can talk about the following year. Obviously, 9/11. We all know what happened that year. Tragically in America, New York City was hit. We don't need to recount all of that. There was that delay of the season. The playoffs got postponed for a moment. Then it was that moment where everybody's like, "Well, New York, this is big for New York." George Bush threw the first pitch. We were feeling good. It was like, these Diamondbacks are pretty good, but we got to win this for the town. And so Jeter became Mr. November. That comeback, that home run, that was great after midnight. November 1st, 12:01 a.m. He had that big thing. They crowned him Mr. November, but unfortunately, we did not win that series. It was a great series still. We don't like the ending of it, but hey, and I love like you said, Pete. Jeter's definitely seems more comfortable now. I don't know if they recorded all this in order, but he's being free. He's letting you know how competitive he is. And he's definitely opening up. Like, and he's like, yo, I did not like losing. This. Everybody was like, oh, you guys just won 3 in a row. Good job, guys. Yeah, but no, I wanted to win this 4th one, and then I want to win again, and I want to continue to win. I'm not just here for, hey, we had a good last couple of years. No, I want to win every year. That's the whole point of being here, is to win. And he stressed that. He made that clear. Like, there's no, all right, well, you win some, you lose some. No, I want to win them all. And he, and they showed, the Michael Jordan quote, spoke to Mike, and Mike, said, like, listen, like, every time he spoke to Jeter, he's like, dude, I feel you. Like that mindset, it's like, yeah, I want to win every game. I want to win every championship, all-star game. It could be a scrimmage. We could be playing pickup. We could play stickball outside. Like, I want to win. Okay? We can be best friends. If you're on the other team, I want to beat you. Period. And that mindset is what a lot of players in a lot of different leagues, seem to lack these days. Whenever we have that LeBron and Michael conversation, or, saying, it's like, yeah, that mindset, that mentality, is what separates the greats, from just guys that, are talented, skilled. You're pretty good, but that's what makes you to the next level. Pete, talk to me. What did you think about that section?
I don't mean to get off track, but prior to that, when they were talking about how Eric Chavez woke them up, because they played Oakland first,
right?
And if you remember, they were kind of meandering,
yeah.
And even Posada had alluded to the fact that they were starting to feel their age a little bit,
right?
But I think it was I think it's so funny that he's the New York Met hitting coach now. Mr. Eric Chavez, I want to thank you because you woke up the sleeping beasts.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek did the flip, which we discussed that Rizzuto did on opening day the prior year. Mm-hmm. But I think the best part of the piece that you just spoke about is the picture of Derek sitting in the dugout after the game, gloves still in his hand. That picture is the epitome of number 2. The burning desire, the passion, just like MJ, Mr. 23, in The Last Dance. They have a burning desire to win, and there is no other thing in their vocabulary.
Right.
And it's just part of it. It's in their DNA. And that's why they're Hall of Famers, and that's why they're all-stars, and that's why they're really good regular players. And then you got your bench jockeys and minor leaguers.
Yeah. Lou, talk to me. What do you think about the mindset?
Yeah, I love his mindset. Even before that, I want to touch on the Chad Curtis situation, which I found was hilarious. That Derek got him off the team. Derek said he didn't, but listen,
he said he didn't.
Yeah, okay.
Listen, as soon as Buster said, Derek looked at the media, looked at Chad Curtis, looked at the media, looked at Chad Curtis. Oh, he done. He got him out of there. But that goes back to that leader mentality. Like, we can have the discussion. We can talk about what happened, but don't do it in front of the media. Like, you got a half hour, 20 minutes before the media walks into the clubhouse. Like, call a spade, and we gonna have it out as men.
Right.
And that's the definition of a leader, right? Like, hey, listen, we can go blow for blow. You can get off your grievances off your chest, but we're gonna do it in a professional manner and a Yankee way. Behind closed doors, so it doesn't get out to the media. That just goes to his mindset. Like, he always wanted to win, whether it was off the field or on the field. And he had that winning mentality. I said it last episode. He embodied the leadership qualities of a captain even before having that title. And there's certain people that have that quality, that can galvanize a team, whether they're superstar or not. I draw the comparison to Andre Iguodala being on the Warriors team. He wasn't the star, but he galvanized that team. He puts them in positions to win. He makes the plays when called upon, when needed to. He doesn't want the limelight. He doesn't want the glory. He doesn't want the awards. Derek Jeter wants to straight up win. And that's what Michael wanted to. Michael wanted to win at all costs. Michael didn't care about scoring titles. He didn't care about MVPs. He got them, sure. They came with the territory. But at the end of the day, if he was bad on defense, one year he went off season. What he did, worked on his defense. If he was bad at free throws, he went and worked on the free throws. Same thing with Jeter. Every year he got better and better and better and better. And he always showed up when you needed him to show up. He wasn't a big home run hitter. He wasn't the guy that bats clean up and is going to knock in 150 runs. But when it's bottom of the ninth and I'm wanting a hit to win the game, ARod or Jeter, under that pressure, I'm taking Jeter 10 out of 10 times every time.
And that's why I wanted to talk about that first, because, ARod made some statements, and it was prior, but I wanted to talk about his mindset and then talk about the ARod comments. So, so Alex Rodriguez, good longtime friend of Derek Jeter, he made a statement saying, and this is just a little snippet that we found on the internet, which was good because I wasn't trying to write the whole thing down from the episode. But ARod said, Jeter's been blessed with great talent around him, so he's never had to lead. He doesn't have to. He can just go and play and have fun and hit second. You never say, don't let Derek beat you. It's never your concern.
I absolutely said exactly what I said. Again, I think it was a comment that I stand behind today. It was a complete tsunami. It was one of the greatest teams ever. And to say that you don't have to focus about just one player, I think is totally fair. By the way, the same could be said about my team with the Seattle Mariners. I had Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, Jay Buhner. If somebody said that about me, I would be like, no shit. Absolutely. You better not just worry about me. So immediately I called Derek and I said, hey, I'd love to go up to see you and talk to you. We sat on his couch, we spoke for about an hour or so. I apologized, said, look, I feel you guys have a tsunami. It's a great team. That wasn't, said to hurt you or penalize you or slight you in any way.
I believed his apology. I really did. I thought he was very sincere in his apology. I said, hey, look, man, if someone asks you a question, you don't have to justify a contract. Now, I think if it was a standalone incident, hey, you move on, man. People make mistakes. But it's the second time it happened.
Talk to me. What did you think about the ARod statement?
If I believe it, yeah, we're still on episode 3.
Yeah.
But I think it was 4. One of the writers said it the best. Jeter always wanted to be a Yankee, and ARod only wanted to be a star. And that's that. You know, this could go on until they're all men. You know, we all and I had asked you guys this question last week. Do you think if ARod was in New York, would he have been able to do what the captain did? Lou said absolutely not. No way. And that's how I feel. And that's basically how you felt, Paulie. So, you know what? I just think right now it's just all water under the bridge. And, you know, if I'm Derek Jeter, I'm walking on the block with my multiple World Series rings. And I think ARod should thank God that the Yankees wanted him there to play third base. And another thing everybody forgets is that if Aaron Boone didn't get hurt, because he got into an accident of some sort and broke something, and they knew he wouldn't be back for 2/3 of the season.
Right.
That's the only reason why ARod came here in the first place. So I think he should just enjoy his one ring and, you know, shut up about the whole thing. But
because we most certainly should have had more when he came to the team. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, just watch him in the batter's box during the playoffs, and Joe Torre's like a 3-year-old at a Little League game. Calm down as he's looks like he was about to have a quaternary in the batter's box, and he couldn't deal with it as a veteran player.
Right.
Do you think he would have been able to deal with it as a 21-year-old, like our boy from Kalamazoo did? There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. And we all know that Jeter's not a power hitter.
Right.
He's not. He was never a fourth place hitter. He was a slick fielding shortstop who had a lot of charisma. Little bit of luck always helps. And that's that. Let it go.
Right.
Let it go. It sounds like ARod was hating.
Yes.
Period. So have your glass of haterade and it's over and done with. You know, but there's too many accolades about this gentleman to really dwell on that from, you know, and that's the only thing that kind of was rubbing me the wrong way. And you can tell how open G was about it yesterday, in the episode yesterday. Yeah, he said, you know, do Alex and I still talk? Yes, we do. And Alex said it, you know, how are we doing? And Derek went,
Right.
No, you're not my best friend.
Right.
You know, who knows even if he was invited to his wedding?
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
You know, and you know, it is what it is.
Right. I know you. I've seen you for years, but you know, you have feelings about me that I don't even know if there's more to it. You know, they made that scratched the surface. That excerpt from that interview might have just been slightly how you feel about me, but I can't rock with you the same way because, you know, I thought we was best friends, and now you look at me a certain way that I'm like, okay, got it. Like now you go into this box. You know,
exactly.
You're not in the circle of trust. You're in this box. You're in this associate box.
Where he belongs, because he even made a big deal about the Sports Illustrated cover when in essence Jeter was hugging him. And he felt like, oh, he's hovering over me. He's holding me down. Dude, what is wrong with you?
Right. Lou, what did you think about ARod's comment?
So I look at the quote. I think ARod's misconstruing leading with being the best player on the team. Because his comment was Jeter has never led. No, Jeter's been leading since year 2.
Right.
Since year 2, Jeter's been the leader of that team. He wasn't the best player on that team, but leading and being the best player don't go hand in hand. You can do one without having the other. And I think that's where ARod gets the misconception of thinking that, oh, I'm the best player on the team, so I'm leading the team. No. You are the best athlete on the team. Ken Griffey led that team. Edgar Martinez led that team. Randy Johnson led that team. Shoot, Mike Cameron when he was there led that team. When you got to Texas, you know, you had the other Rodriguez there.
Right.
You know, like you have never led a team. You've been the best athlete on the team. You've never led a team. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuff mixed up where Alex had in his head that, well, I'm the best, I should be the leader, right? No. Derek has never been probably top 2 shortstop in his league, in our division, in our in the AL. He's never been probably top 2. You had Nomar, you had a lot of Vizquel was there, but Jeter led the team the way a leader's supposed to lead the team. And that comment was strike one. To then follow it up again and mess with somebody's money.
Right.
That was a final nail one call for him. Because, I let you slide with it once. Derek let him slide with it once. Like, all right, cool.
Right.
Yes, you're a better player. Sure. We will all agree that you're a better player. It's like somebody saying that, oh, he's a sore loser. I don't know why he keeps winning. Yeah, I'm a sore loser, but I never lose. So you can't hold that against me.
Right.
You can't. You can't hold them against me because I never lose.
Right. I don't like this feeling that I rarely feel. I don't want to feel it again. I want to win.
So we're gonna win. And Jeter did it the right way. I think he did it in the biggest market, on the biggest stage, with the biggest light shining on him. And ARod, even his days when he was with Seattle and Texas, showed he wasn't able to handle that light, that pressure, that weight that comes with it. Heavy is the crown that the king wears. And yeah, Jeter got the money. ARod got the money, but Jeter got the crown at the end of the day. He filled his pockets, and Jeter got the crown with the jewelry on it. So
something you said, Lou. You said, multiple teams, probably the best player on the team, but not the leader of the team. Doesn't that sound like Kevin Durant right now?
Right. And that's what came to mind. Like, all right, Kevin Durant definitely has that ARod feeling to him, where he wants to be the best player on the team, but he don't want that leadership role.
Right.
He joined Golden State. Curry was that leader. Draymond was that leader. I'm just gonna be the best player on the court and do my thing. Go to New Jersey. Excuse me, Brooklyn. Sorry, Jared. I still call him Jersey. Goes to the Nets, and then he's supposed to be with Kyrie and James Harden. Just put up buckets. And Kevin doesn't have that leader mentality. He doesn't have that I'm gonna lead this team the way I need to lead. Shoot, we don't got nobody in New York that has that leadership mentality right now. Julius Randle don't got it. I don't see anybody in the Yankees have it. Aaron Judge is becoming that. I think once he gets his money, it'll be set in stone. The hardest part I have with Aaron Judge is that George Steinbrenner isn't in running this team. Because we all know Steinbrenner would have been like, what do you want? Here you go.
Yes, absolutely.
And it would have been over with, and we would have had our leader. But yeah, I completely, wholeheartedly agree with you when it comes to leadership. Some people have it, and some people are reserved to be the best player. Hey, listen, go out there, do 150 runs, 600 home runs, do your thing. But you can't lead this team.
Right. And that's why when people want to get into those conversations about who's the best, and they just spit out stats.
The intangibles.
Just pull up. Anybody can just pull up the box score and just say, da. Well, he did this. Okay, did you watch the game? Did you see the impact that he made in the game? I used to say that when the Bulls had Carlos Boozer, he was getting 20 and 10 every night, but it was like, I don't see him doing anything impactful. He's not doing it during any meaningful parts of the game. He's just getting his body into the game. He got 20. Double. I didn't even realize it. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? And
how many times we see Jeter go to the pitcher and just like calm him down, give him words of encouragement, and then go back to his position. Talk to second base, third base, like, hey, we get that back. You don't see that from ARod.
And like you never see that from ARod. The series against the A's, when he made that play coming all the way from short and cutting cutting off the ball from outfield to the flicking at the home plate, and Posada just like, listen, I was going to get it, and next I know it was coming to me. I just swiped, and it's just like something like that. It doesn't really show up in the box score. It might say, oh, cut off, assisted, but it's not really showing what he did. And he missed the cutoff. Let me get over there. That's something that ARod might have just been watching, like, yeah, he missed the cutoff throw. Crazy. Get over there. Like, and who, everybody would probably do that. But he just said, I see he's about to miss the cutoff. Let me get in the middle of it and be the next cutoff. He missed the first one, he missed the second one. I'm gonna be the third one, and just like stuff like that. Diving into, into the stands on a pop fly. It's easy to say, well, that's gonna be a foul ball, strike two. Let it be. He said, no, I can get it. And he just couldn't, the brakes wasn't working. Going top speed, straight arrow. Oh, these brakes ain't working like they used to. And stuff like that. It's like, again, it'll just show up as pop fly, out.
Right.
On the stat sheet. That's all it's going to show up as. But then you got to look at the impact that makes. My teammates are going to say, yeah, this dude's willing to get bruised up for an out. He's diving into the stands for an out. I got you, DJ. You go ahead and rest up. You go get checked out. We're gonna wrap this game up for you, and and that's what ends up happening. That's leadership. What are you willing to do just for a simple out? What are you willing? How much are you willing to hurt for that? And that's where Jeters and the MJs and stuff get separated from everyone else. That's how I feel.
You can compare statistics all you want. So, I didn't care who hit more home runs, who had more RBIs, who had more stolen bases. I compared who won more. Hey, we won. That was it.
And that was pretty much episode 3. All in all, Pete, you alluded to it. Jeter definitely felt more comfortable, opened up a little bit more. But overall, how'd you guys feel about episode 3, in itself?
I liked it. The funniest part, I think, in episode 3 is when he had the herniated belly button. I did not know that story. I fucking chuckled at that.
Yeah.
Was it
that
a
was
biblical
funny.
hernia or something they said?
Yeah.
Umbilical.
Umbilical hernia.
Belly button popped out. It's funny as hell.
Yeah.
I like it. I think stuff like that humanizes Derek Jeter. Like, yeah, he must have been great, but damn, he was human and he'll bust his ass and hurt himself. And you can see, like, as you guys were saying, he's trying to open up more. Like, he's trying to curse and he's trying to be more personable.
Exactly.
We're seeing more of the new Derek, reflecting on how he was as a player, rather than Derek Jeter, the player, talking about how he is. I think we're starting to see that expanded role. I like that. I like episode 3. My son actually came in the middle of it and just like he was walking by and he's like, oh, and then he just sat down. And he started watching and watching and watching. So it's grabbing people's attention. I think, especially stuff that we don't know about Derek Jeter, and some of the good stuff came out into light in that 3rd episode.
Right. Pete, how'd you feel about episode 3?
I thought it was great. My last and final say about him and the whole ARod thing. Let's look up postseason stats.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say. Let's look at the postseason stats. We both been in the game about the same year. So both played about 20 years, and let's look at the postseason stats, and that's that.
Right.
Episode 3 was great, and in episode 4. Let's go.
We're going to go into that now. We talked about, what happened 9/11. We talked, obviously we lost. It was one of the more emotional losses. It was like, you get that, you start hearing the news and stuff. Oh, team of destiny, like do it for the city, da 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 da. And then, for them to lose and the way they lost, and to go up 3-2, they won, the 3 games in New York, but just couldn't pull it out, in Arizona. And then now we get a little conflict and turmoil between, Steinbrenner and Jeter again, and this time around, it's Steinbrenner thinking that Jeter's not focused, saying he's partying too much, and and they're arguing in the office, and Derek's supposed to be going to do a what was it, MasterCard or Visa commercial?
The Visa commercial, yeah.
Visa. And then somebody seen that and got an idea, turned it into the commercial. But what did y'all think about that argument between the boss and Jeter at that time? Like, you know, the media, like, you know, what do y'all think really was, you know, going on there? Lou, you could take it first.
Well, we all know George Steinbrenner didn't like any player being more popular than he was. And, you know, we seen Steinbrenner bump heads with a bunch of people, a bunch of players. The list is infamous. How many times George Steinbrenner has gone back and forth with players, and Jeter was hitting that pinnacle, right? Not only was he dominating the back page, he was starting to dominate the front page and the entertainment section
Right.
of the newspaper. And Steinbrenner is the type that, well, you know, no player is gonna not live the Yankee way and still perform. Like, are you crazy? Like, Jeter hung out, did his own thing, and still performed. Like, I think Steinbrenner saw that as an anomaly and didn't like not being that they don't bite the hand that feeds you kind of mentality. And I love the fact that Jeter pushed back because Steinbrenner really never had somebody call him out to his face and say, "Hey, this is what it is. You made this mess. You need to clean it up." And I think those are some of the reasons why Steinbrenner and Jeter made sense after 2004, 2003, going to 2004, with him being named the captain and so on and so forth. We didn't know, you know, the whole story behind the whole Visa commercial.
Right.
You know, it actually stemmed from a physical altercation that they had. So that was great to see. You know, George Steinbrenner may his soul rest in peace, but it was great to see that someone stood up to Steinbrenner as a current Yankee, and Steinbrenner had no choice but like, shit, all right, respect.
Right. Pete, what was your thoughts on the Balls first Jeter Part 2?
I echo Lou's thoughts. I think that the time came that Jeet was at that point in his career where he wasn't going to take any of George's guff, and he put his foot down. And who knows? Maybe George set him up for that to see if he grew up. Maybe he was thinking about, you know, saying to myself, is this guy worthy of being the captain? And seeing he went back at him, and I definitely feel that's why he was given that. You know, to be up there with the Ron Guidrys, like they said, and the Willie Randolphs and the Thurman Munsons and the Don Mattingleys, it's a badge of honor. It really, really is, and nobody's worn it better than he did.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what happened afterwards. The captain officially became the captain.
I get a message from our PR guy saying the boss wants to speak to you. I'm like, damn, I'm in trouble. He called me and named me captain.
We're very proud to introduce the 11th captain of the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter.
Well, I don't know why, you know, he chose it. He just said that he thought that this was the time.
I remember George calling me, and he says, I'm going to name Derek captain. Something was happening between the two, and he wanted to fix it.
Well, obviously, it goes without saying how great of an honor it is for me to be here and be named the 11th captain in Yankee history.
I mean, you know, I'm a Yankee historian, so, you know, Lou Gehrig, Thurman Munson, Willow, Nettles, Guidry, Donnie. It's not a title thrown around too lightly.
Him being named the captain, again, it speaks back to the ARod conversation, and, you know, it speaks back to not just looking at stats and not just saying, Jeter just get to have fun and bat second? Like, because he doesn't bat third or fourth, that makes him a lesser than player. So now you're also throwing a shot at anybody that bats second. You're making it seem like, you bat second. Like, it's not batting ninth. It's not, you must might batting second. Your job is to get on base.
That matter.
Right. And to his point, like, if he ain't batting second and getting on base, you ain't driving in no runs, bro. Like,
right.
So
it's called RBI.
Right.
And to say, Jeter just having fun, like he's surrounded by a bunch of guys that just make him look like, really? You know, but we're not going to go back to him. We already spoke about that part. But, you know, Jeter officially becomes the captain. Pete, what do you think about that moment?
I think it was well-deserved. Like we just alluded to, I think Mr. Steinbrenner tested him, and they both made money with the commercial, so that always makes everybody happy. And you know, it's it's something that I'm sure George just tested him about. And like I said, there is it is what it is. The guy's a born leader, and as Lou alluded to last week, he was born to do it.
Right. Yeah. Lou, what was your thoughts about that moment when the captain became the captain?
I loved it, because we got the story behind it. They went back and forth. They were arguing. He did the Visa commercial, and then as soon as he gets back to New York, he's going out with 15 of his teammates, and then he gets a call the next day, like, "Ah, shit, I'm in trouble." I love that fact, and I think George knew, like, he was never he might never get a chance again to name somebody else captain. Like, he knew where he was in his stage in career in his life. So yeah, I think Jeter probably goes down as the most decorated Yankee, closer in our era, maybe of all time, because a lot of people aren't alive to talk about Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, and Yogi, all those players. So all we know since 1995 is Derek Jeter. So I think George saw his opportunity, one, to cement his legacy. Like, hey, he got this one right. It wasn't he picked some asshole to be captain and he flamed out. No, he picked somebody like, Paulie just said, someone born for this.
Right. And it was well deserved. And it was an honor that, Derek understood and accepted, and he was doing it already. We talked about that, in our last episode, in the early episodes of the documentary, where his conversation with David Wells, and how he addressed them, how he handled the media, like he was built for it. And we took it back to his parents and how he was raised, but he knew the Yankee way. He was the pinstripes mean so much to him that he knew. It's a certain way, there's a certain culture, and we're gonna uphold it. So it was just only right that, you're the captain. So when anybody new comes in, you setting the standard. Hey, he's the captain of the team. If you need somebody to idolize or role or model yourself, look at what he does. If you have a question about what am I doing or how should I do it, look at him. And it was just perfect. Like, it was just perfect. Then we got a good section talking about the Red Sox and Yankees rivalry, and so episode 3 we spoke about just the Mets, and then episode 4 we're gonna speak about just the Red Sox. So Lou, let's talk about those Red Sox again. This is and we know what's going to happen eventually in a later episode, but in this episode we owned them dudes. We owned them dudes. I did not like seeing the Zimmer fight. That part I didn't like when Zimmer went out there. I love Zim. Rest in peace to Zim. He had good intentions. He was going to get him. He was going to get him, but Zim just like.
So funny story about that fight. I would never forget where I was. Joey's mom was pregnant with Joey at the time, and she lived in Washington Heights, of course. So none but Red Sox. It's split. Like, either you're a Red Sox fan or you're a Yankee fan. I'll never forget. I was walking into the Papa John. They were playing that game, and when ARod made his move and him and Varitek went at it, all hell broke out. You would think there was a rumble in the Heights up there. So I will never ever forget that game. And it only cemented my hatred for Boston. For Pedro to do that to Don Zimmer, it sucked. That one really sucked. And I don't think we'll ever have a sports rivalry with two teams that hate each other more than Boston and the Yankees. I think even down to the way we carry ourselves. With no facial hair, with the Yankees, with all out beards and dirty helmets with the Boston.
Manny just, with his pants under his
Manny
heel.
with his pants. Yeah, like the whole way they carry themselves. I forgot which player on the Red Sox had a helmet so dirty that you couldn't see the B anymore on it.
Yeah, it was Trot Nixon.
Trot Nixon.
Fielder.
Yeah. Oh
Trot
my
Nixon.
God. chewing the tobacco while you're at bat, like all that stuff was anti-Yankee. And I will never forget, the infamous 3-1 collapse.
Like I said, that's going to be a later episode.
Yeah.
I know they're going to bring that up.
We're going to get to that.
But
me as a Yankee fan, we were. I think we all know we hate Boston.
Yes.
It's a team that we cannot stand. I would never root for. Someone asked me the toughest question of my life is, hey, if it's Boston versus the Mets in the World Series, who are you rooting for? And my response was, what World Series? Because there ain't no World Series going down at that point. Like, I'm just going to skip the entire World Series that year. Like, those two teams I would never root for them. Just because they cement my hatred. I still hate Boston to this day. I will forever hate Boston. I don't respect anybody who wears the Boston hat. So come at me. But that's the way I feel about Boston.
Right. And Pete, you know the rivalry a little further back than we do.
I remember when Mr. Lou Piniella slid into Carlton Fisk, and it was bedlam. And I used to be in the the original and the renovated stadium when there was fist fights in the upper deck. Multiple fist fights. And outside in the parking lot, walking back up, because they used to get the buses underneath the L over there by Mullally Park, because they had to walk past Mullally where the stadium is now, and there'd be fights all along there to the front of Mullally by the pool. I'm dead serious. In the 70s, in the mid to late 70s. And getting back to what Lou said, it was just as intense at that point in time, with Manny. And obviously when Pedro threw Don Zimmer on the floor, come on, a 73-year-old man, that's when, that was it. That was it. That cemented the fact that, if Fenway Park would have burned down, I'd go there and cheer.
I'd go pour some more gasoline. Like,
yeah.
Come with some s'mores.
Them and all the rats that live in there could burn to death. I wouldn't care less.
Exactly.
I could care less.
Exactly.
But getting back to what Jeter said about this episode was that they'll find a way to screw it up.
They'll find a way to screw it up.
And they did. And during the season, Jeter flew in the stands, like you alluded to, went to the hospital to get his orbital bone checked. And before he left the dugout, he tells Mr. T, by the way, I'll be here tomorrow, so put me in the lineup.
Right.
He didn't even go to the hospital yet. And once again, these are the things that we talk about that, he's high and above everybody else. It's I'll be back tomorrow.
No load management. No rest day. None of that. No questionable. Not even questionable. He's like, I'm playing tomorrow.
Put Luis Soho in for me. He can pick up the ball and throw it. He can do that. Yeah, we'll be fine. I'll be back tomorrow.
Exactly.
Amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah. And like I said, I know we're gonna have more on the Red Sox because we all know what happens eventually. But as far as this episode, the curse continued. We kept our foot on their neck. They always found a way to screw it up.
Aaron Boone.
I loved it. And then they spoke about the ARod trade, and after the comments was made, all of that, he ends up getting the big check in Texas. He ends up winning the MVP. And then, Cashman and him was it a banquet dinner or something? And he said he had one cocktail, maybe two or three. And Cashman said, hey, we talked about, he was supposed to go to Boston, which would have been perfect, first and foremost, before we even get to what he did land. But if he would have went to Boston, that would have made the rivalry a little bit more because of the comments he made for Jeter previously.
Yep.
And their relationship and how it was tarnished, and that would have took the rivalry up a notch.
Another level.
Yeah.
And us as Yankee fans weren't even worried about ARod going to Boston. Like it was like,
wanted
cool.
it.
Let's
Go.
Like, let's make it
Go.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We get to bust your ass 18 times a year. Let's
Right.
go.
Right.
Sign me up.
Obviously, if Boone would have stayed healthy,
Mm-hmm.
Tore his
I
ACL
don't-
playing pickup basketball.
yeah.
The entire dugout clears out, and him and I are the only two sitting there, like a scene out of a movie.
Yeah, it's a true story. I mean, I don't remember all the detail. I remember it did rain. I do remember at some point we were both in the dugout together.
I approached him and I said, "Hey, are we good?" And he said, kinda. I said, "Well, what's up? What's happening?" And he said, "Well, I was talking to my father, and I really don't understand why in the prime of your career, you just won an MVP, you just won Gold Glove. Why would you want to give that up to come play third base? I'm not sure I would have done that. So I'm wondering, like, kind of like, what's your agenda?"
I could only look at it from my point of view, right? If someone came to me and said, you have an opportunity to go somewhere else and you have to switch positions, I'd be like, man, I don't know if I can handle this. Just be honest with you, I don't think I could have handled it.
I said, I came here knowing that the captain of the team and a 4-time world champion was the shortstop. I respect that shortstop. I respect you. And if George Steinbrenner called me into his office tomorrow and said, "I'm moving Derek out of shortstop and I'm putting you," I go back to Texas. I would not play. I gave you my word. I came here to play third base.
I give it to him. He never brought up playing shortstop, or there are never any whispers from someone about him wanting to play shortstop. I think he committed to playing third base, and you got to give him credit for that.
I thought there was some push and pull about the position change, but he said he came with all intention to play third base, never thought about playing shortstop. It was always, I'm coming to be on third. Do y'all believe that?
Hell no.
No, because if G gets hurt, you know damn well he's going to play shortstop.
Right,
Come on.
right.
Come on.
And we all know Yankees came to Derek like, "Hey, how you feel about this?"
Right.
Derek was like, "Well, as long as I play shortstop, we good."
Right. And then he had he took the picture. Well, usually it was his time off, off season. He's usually down in Florida chilling. And Steinbrenner calls him up, say, "Hey, come take some pictures and stuff. We just made a trade for your boy. Come take some pictures with us. You're the captain now." So, it would look good to welcome him and stuff. So, PR move, what have you, But again, we're gonna get some more info on, ARod's Yankee years, But you guys already alluded to. We already know how that story goes. He was there. He did some stuff during the season. The big moments, he would just be looking, just standing. Oh, that's a strike. Oh, that's crazy. All right. But we'll come back to that and stuff. But all in all, what were you guys' thoughts on episode 4? Pete, you take it first.
I loved it because they showed the whole, you forget things, and not that I ever forget about 911,
right?
But you found out how baseball was cathartic for the country. Even though we lost the World Series,
right?
And it was the first time that Mariano, let us down. But how could you ever get mad at Mariano for more than 5 minutes?
Right.
But I thought that part was, great. And the interactions he had with President Bush and it was a very long winter for them because that held heavy, not just on, Jeter, but Mariano, that's all the media talked about that winter.
Right. Sorry to cut you off, but remember, they also showed the year prior when he went 3 innings and they went in them extra innings and stuff to get him to get even to that point and stuff where he pitched.
Right.
He's the closer. At that point, he's solidified as just 1 inning, 3 outs, we out of here.
Right.
And he was like, "Listen, I'm gonna keep pitching if I have to. Like, I'm not giving up any runs. Like,
I'm not coming out."
And then again, it hurt that he gave up that game 7 9th inning run that definitely hurt. So yeah.
Yeah, but in all, to me, it's getting better and better because he keeps on getting looser and looser. And Lou alluded to the fact that he cursed, and I was like, "What?" Never heard Jeter curse. Never thought he even knew a foul word. It's like this boyhood idol that's now a Hall of Fame idol. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I really am. This guy should win an Emmy or something for this, because it's very well done.
And we saluted Jeter, obviously. We saluted his family and stuff, and we saluted the director. We also want to salute Spike Lee, who produced this and was big in bringing this together as well. So definitely got to shout out Spike Lee as well for producing it and stuff. Lou, what's your thoughts on episode 4?
Yeah, I loved it. Any chance we get to pick up the scab of all Boston players, fans' wounds, I enjoy that immensely. Even though they got up on us later on, but it showed Jeter dealt with a lot, and before he became officially the captain, he took that captain role over at a very heavy time. Paul O'Neill retired, Tino Martinez was gone, Scott Brosius retired. That's his core right there. The people he came, when he came up, he came up with Posada and Pettit and Mariano. So they were all groomed by Paul O'Neill and Tino Martinez and Scott Brosius, and to have them gone, and now he's assuming the big Kahuna role officially now. It was a lot, especially in that 04 season, coming off of everything happened with ARod coming in now to play third and be his fielding buddy. It was a lot. That was a lot for a young Derek Jeter to take on, and then bumping heads with George Steinbrenner. And then getting injured at the beginning of the 03 season, something he never really had injury like that.
Right.
That sidelined him for a long period of time. So it was a lot. That episode had a lot of different roller coaster emotions and trials and tribulations. And I love how we get into the thick of it now. Now, we saw all the ha-ha, rah-ha, funny, good, glory years where we win. Now we get into those dark ages where we weren't winning, where we went 5 or 6 years without making an appearance. So the people that know Derek Jeter as just as a winner from the outside don't know how hard it was for him to lead this team from 04 to 09. Managing, underperforming of the Yankees, ARod's in the clubhouse, Giambi and those issues, and ARod, so there's a lot more to digest and unpack as it gets further in. But I'm liking it so far. I think episode 4 is probably my favorite so far.
And it's funny just, hearing ARod say, Jeter just gets to have fun and bat second.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
No.
From what we're seeing, it wasn't all about fun, and his mindset was to win, but there's a lot of things that was going on to even get there. So yeah, fun, I wouldn't call it fun. It's fun when you win, but just say, fun and bat second.
162 games before that, it's all work.
Right.
It's all work. ARod never had the expectation to go out there and win a World Series every year.
And he didn't understand.
Expectation was perform.
Right, and they even allude to that. Playing in New York, it's championship or bust. There is no, you made the playoffs. You made the series. There's no you made. It's, did you win? No. Okay, then. Try harder. That's how it, and the media will turn on you. The fans will turn on you. They said Jeter got booed. You will get booed in New York. They don't care what your salary is, what your name is. That's why the Yankees don't have their last names on their back, because it's bigger than that. It ain't about you.
I tell everyone, if you tell ARod to trade his MVPs for Yankee rings, he would do it. You position Derek Jeter with that same question, fuck no. He won't take it.
Right.
So that there alone just sets miles apart from each other.
Yeah. But thank you, gentlemen, once again for another good episode talking about the documentary. We still got a couple more weeks to go, a couple more episodes to go. So once again, everybody, shout out to listening, shout out to everybody listening, shout out to everybody watching. Comment below if we missed anything or you guys' thoughts. And we'll be back to do it again for 2 more episodes next week. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, everybody. All right. Later.
Peace.
Take care, boys.